Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to a tropical forecast. I've not done one in about like 4 or 5 days because I've been really merging onto that kind of winter storm, winter-like discussion there. And I will have another video out today on the second round of snow, most likely large and significant windstorm Billy, as it's already starting to bring snow for some areas in the Pacific Northwest. But we're going to be talking about Invest 95L in this video. So we're going to be seeing whether it could very well become Tropical Storm Zeta, and it's most likely going to go in the Gulf of Mexico. It does have a 60% chance of development in the next 5 days and 50% chance in the next 48 hours. So really watching out. This could be, I believe, the 27th named storm if it does become Zeta, which means we have one more storm and then we tie the 2005 season. Before we get in the video, please subscribe if you're new, hit the like button and post notification icon. But without further ado, let's get in this video. So here's a look now at the, as you do see the IR brightness here. And you can kind of see some resemblance to tropical low. I mean, it's obviously not a tropical low really yet. But of course it is an area of investigation here. And we're going to be taking the National Hurricane Center site after this. I just wanted to show you this because I find that really interesting here. We do have really that big blob to the east of that low pressure, and we got a smaller but growing blob to the west of that low pressure. I find that really interesting because I mean it's starting to blow up here. So obviously you need counterclockwise spin to have it full tropical. So that means it's gonna be going like this. So that means it's gonna be trying to kind of close off that low, which is why I find it very interesting. You can kind of see this blob is certainly growing. It's certainly growing both ways, extending in that convection there. That low pressure is obviously in the open right now. Good thing there's no shear and no dryer in the area to rip it apart. But also, that means we got that thriving eastern blob of convection as well. We just kind of need that western part of the low pressure to really kind of continue to thrive and blow up, because that way we can kind of have a better chance to close this low pressure, close it off from any shear if there is that very little, but obviously some pockets of shear can do a little damage, especially if it's only an investigation 95L. But that's why I find it really interesting here, just to mention here, both sides of the low pressure convection wise are growing, and I believe it is moving, directly north. I'm not exactly 100% sure, but let's go and take a look at the National Hurricane Center update. Well, actually, they just did a 2 o'clock update right as I was making my intro. So it's now a 70% chance for not only the next 5 days, but 48 hours. But there we got Hurricane Epsilon, which is still at 85 miles an hour. But pressure is rather low for it being 85 miles an hour. It's 968, which is pretty impressive, but it is moving north now at 10 miles an hour. Could pose a threat to some really heavy rains and winds for portions of Nova Scotia, maybe even portions of New England, due to its really large wind field, but that will obviously fall apart as it is weakening. But there it is, 48 hours, 70% chance. Their satellite and radar does indicate a broad area of low pressure located just west of the Grand Cayman Islands there, obviously, which is next to Jamaica. And this system could move near western Cuba by Sunday, so the late weekend, early next week there, and possibly interest into the Florida Keys in southern Florida to monitor. Obviously, Florida has been spared 2 to 3 times this season. Obviously, Isaias, Laura. I believe there's one more. Obviously, we kind of had some interest with Paulette a little bit. We're not really, but there was a little question if it could happen. But obviously, that didn't happen. But could this be the last chance for Florida to get hit? Obviously, with the cold water, or not cold, but cooler waters in the North Gulf, if it does not hit Florida, or if it does not hit southern Florida, and it goes towards Louisiana or Mississippi, any of those general areas that are not southern Florida, then it'll most likely see the tropical storm, if not weak hurricane, because not only that, there is some significant amount of shear and dryer as well. So it'll struggle to become a hurricane and thrive. Obviously, Laura and Sally obviously were able to blow up, even Marco in the Gulf. But that was when we are at the peak of the hurricane season. We're at late October. We are 8 days away from Halloween, and almost, I believe, 9 days from November. roughly a month away from November 30th, which is the last day of hurricane season. Doesn't mean you can't have activity after that, but that just means activity will minimize. So this will be the best and probably last chance for Florida to get any activity this 2020 season. Obviously, Louisiana became the hot spot. They obviously had Cristobal, the resemblance, or they got the resemblance of Marco. They did get some showers and pretty significant storm surge from Sally itself, Laura, Cristobal. They did get rain from Hannah as well, and obviously Delta. Can't forget about Delta. I mean, they've just got hit multiple times this season, and it's gonna be anything from Miami all the way up to maybe even Texas coast. We'll be on the lookout, but not for a big major hurricane. At least not now, because I mean it'll have to be extremely organized to survive those well below 20 or well below 28 degrees Celsius waters up there, and obviously some significant shear. So I've been talking about those waters. As you do see, the best chance for this to stay as a decent strong storm would either have to be it coming this way up the coast like that. That would be its best chance to even become a hurricane. It's even if it did go there, it probably not certain 100% to become a hurricane. But if it does, like a few models do show, including GFS and CMC, last time I checked, I don't think they reloaded yet. I believe that the 18Z hasn't come out. But if it were to kind of go this way, I think there's really probably not a chance for it to maybe become a hurricane. I mean, like I said, there always is a chance, but I think the best probability for this to become a hurricane will have to be it going toward Florida, and then kind of maybe going up the East Coast, or maybe even hitting Western Cuba, but hitting like that. I think these are the best. This is the best outcome, because that's where we have the warmest waters, 30 degrees Celsius, 29 degrees Celsius, and then after Cuba, you got 28 and 29. And if it does, the best chance for it to be a hurricane, the best chance out of all would be that, because you still got 29, 28 degrees Celsius off the southeastern coast. But if it were to go this way, you're probably saying, but Adrian, look at the whole Gulf. There's hundreds of more miles of 28, 29, and 30, or 28, 29, and 27. You got to think about the shear, and you got to think about the dry air. There's a lot of dry air and a lot of shear to this general area. There's no shear and no moisture here, which is where it is. But if it goes this way, it kind of really avoids that. But if it goes straight in the middle of the Gulf, it does not avoid that. So it's not just the waters you got to think about. You got to think about the shear. You got to think about the ridge. You got to think about also the water as well. You got to think about the moisture. Really everything you got to think of as well. You got to think, oh, okay, well, will it be organized by that time? Will it get ripped apart? There's a lot of factors, obviously. But we will see and wait and see as it does get closer to a tropical depression. So here's like now at the track guidance. As you do see, it's all over the place. I think CTCI or HMNI, if those happen, I'm not saying they will, but if those happen, those have the best chance for it to become a hurricane. That's just based on everything. The really basically the atmospheric conditions, really. But also, if maybe the TVCM actually happens, which I did say when I did point, I go like this. I mean, that could definitely, that's also has a great probability to become a hurricane, just based on the waters, where the shear is, everything. I'm not saying it's not going to become a hurricane if it goes in the middle of the Gulf. I'm just saying there's a lot less probability. But it is going west-northwest now. But we have we've seen crazy turns already in this general area here, where they kind of go straight like that, or not exactly like that, but I'm saying in general, like crazy turns in general, not like what I just highlighted. But there's a large cone if you follow this. I mean, it's all the way from the Grand Bahama Island all the way up into Cancun. Obviously, we don't want Cancun to get hit again. They got Delta, obviously, which is still, I mean, just crazy what happened there, hitting them as a Category 3, I believe. or category 2. I believe it was a strong category 2, borderline category 3 when they hit. But, I mean, I think Florida definitely has the best chance to get hit, whether it's like this, just getting skinned, or if it's getting like a Florida Panhandle hit, kind of like, not exactly what Sally, obviously Sally hit like kind of like Alabama, but that general Panhandle area. So I think Florida does have the best chance, whether it's the Gulf Coast or if it's the Atlantic Ocean there, near the Bahamas. Not like the Gulf of Mexico Atlantic Ocean, but like right here, the eastern coast compared to the west coast. But yeah, let's go check out the intensity guidance, or not intensity guidance. I forgot I was gonna show more models. I do see it's kind of straight up even. It's kind of really dead even to where it's gonna go or where it's gonna turn at this point. Let's split it right in half here. We have half of them going that way, which is what I said has the best chance. This track has the best chance for becoming a hurricane. Obviously, no matter what track it takes, it will be a tropical storm. That's almost guaranteed. But if it goes like this, it's the less, or let's say the worst chance of becoming a hurricane. And that's just based on the atmospheric conditions. You can't just go off the SSTs. I guarantee I'm going to see a comment saying, well, there's warmer waters, longer lasting, and more widespread in the Gulf. So what do you mean? Alright, I'm going to show you at the end of the video the shear and the moisture. Because I don't know. Some people don't watch the whole video. But as you do see, the majority intensity guidance get this to becoming a tropical storm in the next 24 hours to the next kind of 40 hours. And then the latest models get this kind of like into next week. But obviously, it hasn't been an invest for too long. So obviously, I guess you could say the models at the start aren't the most reliable, but doesn't mean they're not going to be accurate. But only one gets to sue a hurricane. Only one. And that is the HMNI. Let's see what the HMNI shows on the tracks. If we can find it. Like I did say, look, there it is, HMNI. I said, if it goes this way, it has the best chance to become a hurricane. And look what we have here. The only model showing a hurricane now is the one doing that track. So, I mean, it kind of really all adds up here. But let's take a look at the models now. So, here's like now the GFS model here. Let's go move my screen a little bit so I can actually scroll. So, this is what the GFS is showing. Here it is. In the next 24 hours, they have a low pressure at 1,008 millibars. So, they don't even have it forming in 24 hours, which that's understandable. And then they kind of get to a borderline tropical storm status at 1,007 millibars in 36 hours, and then they should moving south for some reason. Obviously, we've learned a lesson ever since Arthur that we can't really trust the GFS 100%, and they get 1,007 millibars, not even strengthening one bit in the Gulf of Mexico, and that makes sense. Maybe strengthen at least 3 millibars. But they get not strengthening 1 millibar at all from here to here, and I did say it wouldn't be here. There's a less probability of it becoming a hurricane if it goes that way, but I didn't say there's the chance that it doesn't even drop 1 millibar. I don't even know what the GFS is really showing at this point, but check out CMC. CMC, I guess you could say, isn't much better, but they do not have going south for some reason like GFS, and they do get to 1,007 before getting the Gulf there, right there, and they should be making landfall in the exact same area where GFS is at the same pressure. Like I've been saying, that there's a ton of shear and a ton of dryer in the northwestern, or in much of the Gulf. Like I just say, the best chance if it's survival, or not survival, but if it becoming a hurricane is there, and that's exactly why. Really no shear at all. If it just kind of goes north and just follows that, bada bing, bada boom. But not the case if it goes into the Gulf. And if it's only a weak tropical storm entering the Gulf, like the GFS shows it won't beat that dryer. I mean, it clearly won't. It just really clearly won't. But also the shear, like I did say, there's no shear where it is now. And obviously there's a lot of shear in the Florida area and Caribbean. Not much better if it does go there or not. But the thing is, it's going to be less than if it goes in the Gulf. It's going to have to go through hundreds of miles there. But if it goes this way, it's gonna start finding a little gap right here, a little hole. If it does go there, it will find a little hole to kind of find its way there. But look at that, it's gonna be a lot better if it just go there, especially if it's gonna be stronger, the more likelihood of it surviving. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and bye guys.